Welcome back here once again, everyone. I finally got a chance to go and watch Avatar: The Way of Water. It's the sequel to the Avatar movie that came out in 2009. I really liked the movie, the one that came out in 2009. I watched it. Thought it was really well done and it was had a good story. And I actually really enjoyed it. Some people didn't find it a little pretentious, but I actually really enjoyed it. So I went to watch the second one. And to be honest with you, I am a little concerned because after 3 hours and 12 minutes, it didn't, it seemed to me like they weren't, like something wasn't quite right there. But let me get into my review for it. Spoiler warning, early on there will be spoilers for this, so I'm just letting you know off the bat. Now, one of the main problems with this movie. Now, but before I even get to that, the movie itself is visually beautiful. It's really well done as usual. The Navi look nice. The animals, the water, all of this looks fantastic. But it's kind of a pointless movie, and I'll tell you why. Now, it starts up. The movie begins more than a decade after the Navi and Jake Sully, repel the humans and them off of Pandora. Jake has become the chief. He's married to Netiri, and they have two sons and a daughter and an adopted daughter who an adopted daughter named Kiri, who was born from Grace Augustine. That was Sigourney Weaver played her in the first movie. From her avatar cryos avatar body thing that is in that is inert. It have no human brain within it at all, but somehow she was born from it. It's pretty clear early on that she has some connection to the planet itself, and I know they call it Awa or something like that. Yeah, it's pretty clear she has a connection to it, and they try to allude to certain things, but you could tell pretty early on that she has a direct connection to Awa, and that most likely it was because of Awa that she was born, and that is the whole thing about it. They never really explain properly where anything, trying to set up for something that doesn't really happen. Now, after the first movie, we had the whole thing with the humans come in there. They wanted to mine this rare kind of element thing that could be used to power what all these sort of things. They had the big battle. They repelled the humans. They end up killing the colonel. I guess Quaritch or something. So his name was. They end up killing him and all of that. So and then Jake gave up his human body and became an avatar. Okay, we had that done in the first movie. In the second movie now, you could have done something different, but no. The humans return. This time they return, they set up they set up this new main operating base that they call Bridgehead City, and their plan now is to completely colonize Pandora because Earth is dying. But for some reason, these humans seem to be incredibly stupid or just don't want to understand the very thing that they should have learned from the first movie. This planet is not like any other you would have come before. It has a direct connection to every living organism on it. It's an interconnected biological entity. The Navi are connected to the planet, the animals are connected to the planet, the plants, the trees, everything is connected. But they don't seem to care. I mean, now, okay, now you would think that humans have to colonize Pandora because Earth is dying. Right? So, try to understand what they and see if you could live in peace with them. No, you want to come to the planet and do the exact same thing that caused your own planet to be dying. You want to do it to Pandora, but at a more advanced pace that will cause problems. Because if you keep killing everything you could find, eventually the planet which is connected to them is going to die too, and then you'll have two dead worlds on your hands and nothing to do with it. But they don't. It's like that simple, commonsensical thing doesn't happen in this movie. They don't do it. And then to top it all off, apart from the humans coming back and doing all of this nonsense and all of this, they resurrect the same Colonel Quadrich, but in an avatar body. Apparently, he and his men had their memories, their personalities, and everything downloaded onto something. So the event that they died, their body, their consciousness would be uploaded into avatar bodies. We already had him in the first movie. He was an interesting, cool, ruthless bastard. He's dead. Move on. No. Instead, you just decide to just resurrect him as an avatar and send him back. One of the main problems with this movie is that it's basically the exact same movie as before. It's pretty much the same first movie, just with a few minor tweaks here and there, but that's pretty much all it is. So while Jake is doing guerrilla tactics to blow up the some railway system thing that the humans have set up and trying to solve it, because the humans are actively trying to murder the Na'vi. They're actively trying to do that. He's attacking them and all this stuff and the thing, and he has his hands full dealing with his children. He has two sons. The older one is the more understanding and following orders type, and the younger one is a little more reckless. And the older one is always getting into, always having to cover for his younger brother. Yeah, because they clearly set up a death flag with that older one. And spoiler alert, one time or the older one does die at the end. That's pretty much, I can't say that one time, the older one does die at the end. But that's what happens. So he has his hands full dealing with his children, all of this stuff and the other. And then when Colonel Quadrich shows up, but before I get into that, Quadrich apparently had a son. We never heard about the child before, but apparently he had a son. It was a baby when the humans had to leave, and since they can't put children in cryostasis, he stayed behind. They end up calling him Spider, and he is always there with the Na'vi and thing on the other. Even though Neytiri doesn't really like him too much, she considers him an alien regardless or whatever, but he's become more Na'vi than anything else, and he's there with them. So they're trying to set up that he has this human son, but they really never utilize the boy correctly. So anyway, while Jake's children are off exploring, Quadrich and his avatar soldiers show up, capture them, they have a little fight, they end up getting it back, and then Jake's genius plan is that they are going to keep coming after them. Let's pack up and run. I mean, you're a military man. Common sense would dictate they are going to follow you no matter where you go, because they realize you are the biggest threat that they have. Why not stand your ground in where you have an advantage and eliminate these people so that your family could be safe? No, they decide to run. It's pretty clear that James Cameron wants to tell a story in surrounding water on Pandora, and he's just trying to find a way to set it up. So Jake gives over leadership of the tribe to somebody else, and they go off to the southern side of the island, where it have some Na'vi who are more reef people kind of thing now. But they don't always do the marketing. But Quadrich and his crew did end up capturing Spider, so they were there trying to get him. And then of course the new colonel who is in charge of the bridgehead and the operations and thing there is a woman, because we need to show that everybody in power in this thing had to be some woman in some way. So she's a woman. When we first meet her, she's in this kind of exoskeleton kind of thing, kicking this punching bag, because all women must be badass. But they never do anything with her. Really, they just kind of just want you to know that, listen, woman is in charge. The only other times that we really see her is one time when she's on this kind of helicarrier kind of helicopter thing, going to pick up Quadridge and his crew, and then when she's kind of mind torturing Spider, that's about it, and then you just never see her again. That's it. She just kind of gone, and that's the end of it. So Quadridge gets Spider to show him show him around Pandora and teach him about Navi and all that kind of thing, and how to talk it and all the other and thing. And then they have this whole part where he has to wrangle this flying dragon thing, just like Jake, because they're trying to show something there, and he gets it and all of that. And then you've built them up to be this like they are supposed to be this big bad threat for the movie. But then you just ignore them and spend a good 40 to 45 minutes having Jake's children and him and thing learn about the ways of water and the fact that the reef people could breathe underwater longer than usual because of some special breathing techniques that they have this connection to these kind of whale-like things that swim around. They have a spiritual bond with them and they could actually communicate with them and all of this, and you just kind of leave it, and then we get to find out now that the same whale things that these people have connections to, it have some humans who are hunting them. Again, for this entire stupid reason, they're hunting these whale things, and when they capture and kill them for the sole purpose of drilling into their brains to extract one vial of this yellow glowing liquid thing that apparently could stop the aging process and sells for like $80 million. Again, it makes no sense. They are literally killing these animals and could only extract one vial, and that's all that they use them for. They're not using their parts for anything. They're not nothing like that. They just want that one vial of that liquid alone to stop this liquid apparently could stop the aging process and sells for 80 million. Your world is dying. What in God's name you have any interest in money for if none of you are going to be alive? But once again, it's just trying to mimic the first movie. In the first movie, they just needed this rare ore, and now they need this liquid that comes out from these space whales and them brain. That's it. And they hunt them down and kill them. And they spend a good 40-45 minutes of this movie showing about ways of the water and all kind of thing, and completely ignore Quadridge and his crew. When we do see them again, they're going around from island to island, torturing some of these Navi reef people and things to find out where Jake is. Meanwhile, his adopted daughter Kiri, who clearly has some kind of connection to the whole planet thing or the other, when she connects to this spirit tree thing that the reef people have underwater, she has a seizure and all of this. So they tell her that so Jake is told that if she does it again, it could have serious effects. It's clear they're trying to set up something, but they never go anywhere with it. When Quadridge and his crew do come after Jake again, they've captured his children, trying to get him to surrender. He before he could do that, apparently his youngest son had made some connection with this one whale thing that is an outcast, because the other whales don't believe in fighting. And this whale, when he saw the humans kill his mother, he tried to gather the others to attack, and because of that, they've branded him an outcast. But he befriends him, and Mr. Whale, when he sees his spirit brother being chained up there, he attacks and starts destroying the place. And it's pretty funny to see the humans getting exactly what they deserve. And then they have this whole big fight. The Jake's older son ends up getting killed. Neytiri and Jake pretty much manhandle the rest of them in some badass ways as possible, and then Jake has this big fight with Quadridge that really isn't all that impressive. The build up thing didn't matter, because then he ended up kind of strangling him underwater and leave him unconscious. Look, long story short, Spider ends up saving Quadrich, but he refuses to go back with him. The rest of them get out of there, and then, rather than Jake and them wanted to leave after his son's funeral, but the chief of the tribe told him that he could stay, and he decided to stay, and they get all that he's now resolved to protect them. I tell you, this movie was just pretty much pointless, because it's clear early on that James Cameron wants to tell this story about the water tribe of Pandora. Now, several things he could have missed, several things he missed in this thing, and to be honest with you, what a lot of these creators don't understand these days is that when a story ends, it ends and then you tell something else. Even if it's connected to what you've told before, that first story is over, you have to tell something else now. He didn't do that. If you take a look at, for instance, Terminator, the first two Terminator movies, the rest of them was kind of, but anyway, the first two Terminator movies. In the first Terminator movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger is the Terminator. He's come back to kill Sarah Connor, and Kyle Reese is back there trying to protect her, and they go through this whole process of Terminator trying to kill them. They have the thing, and then you're gonna find out that Kyle is actually John Connor's father and all of that. So they do all that in the first movie, and then the movie ends. By the second movie now, when Arnold Schwarzenegger returns as a Terminator, it's a different one, and he's there to protect John Connor. Sarah Connor has changed. She went from being this waitress woman who couldn't balance her checkbooks, who was all afraid of things, to now being this badass, ready to do whatever she has to do to protect her son and all of this, right? The movies are connected, but the first movie is over and done with, and we move on to the second movie. Even though it's connected to the first movie, it's an entirely different movie. That's what should have been done here, but James Cameron didn't do that. He figured all he had to do was tell the exact same story from the first movie with some tweaks here and there, and figured that all the beautiful visuals and things would be enough to entice people. It doesn't work. I mean, you already did the story with the humans before. This time now, you could have told a different story in regards to maybe some other alien race showed up, or maybe because in the first movie it was very, very heavily implied that Jake had some special connection to the planet, that the planet had chosen him to do something. Okay, you could have followed up on that, like maybe he started getting some visions or something. Maybe Awa wanted him to travel across Pandora to do different things to find out. I mean, even though you still have Kiri, who is connected to the planet, you could have made it both work with them. Like, Jake has to do something, and Kiri is the one who's interpreting what Awa is trying to show them. And you gotta set it up like some kind of elements thing. We already had the forest and thing in the first one. In the second one now we have the water and all of this. I think, and as I say, introduce another alien race to try and give it some purpose, because the reason Jake had to learn all these things in the first movie is because he needed to connect with them in order to help the humans, but then he decided to help the Na'vi. So it worked. In this second one now, they need to connect with the water in order to stay there, even though the humans are coming to kill them. But then it doesn't make any kind of sense, because what are you doing it for? You could have just stayed and fought them instead of bringing your problems to the water people. But no, they didn't do that. So like I said, it's a beautiful done movie, but ultimately it's just really pointless. Because you've made the exact same movie as the first one. You haven't done anything different with it. You just expect people to be happy with it. Now, don't get me wrong, this movie is going to make some money, especially over the Christmas weekend and things, because it really has nothing else in cinema to compete with it right now. So it's going to make some money. But I don't really see this movie making $1 billion. If it does, I would be really surprised. But I don't really see this movie making $1 billion. honestly, because I think James Cameron dropped the ball. I mean, the first Avatar movie came out since 2009. You had all this time to come home with something much better, and you did this. My final rating for Avatar Way of Water, I would give this movie a 2.9 out of 5. It's not really worth watching, but if you just want to see some of the, marine life and thing, fine. But other than that, it's pretty much the exact same story from the first movie. That's it. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. If you have a different opinion, I'd love to hear it. If you like the video, be sure to hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell. Be notified every time I put out a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.